and Nickelodeon Movies present
Hello, my wonderful, sweet baby boy.
the most unexpected event of the year.
Tommy, this is your brother Dylan. Baby.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
And today we're actually covering the first Rugrats movie.
This movie has become one of Nickelodeon's beloved films as it centers on the birth of Tommy's new baby brother, Dill. Yes, Dill Pickle. After the baby starts to take the attention away from Tommy, his friends try to return him to the hospital. Not Tommy, but Dill, only to get lost in the woods. But
before we start, share, like, subscribe, include occasionally some feature podcasts and little pause videos.
Thank you so much
You
for joining us.
Get your monies back.
For
Like,
subscribing and sharing the videos. We appreciate you so much.
yes, and get your money back.
This is a movie Rascals wanted to do for a while. For anyone not familiar, Rugrats was a 1998 comedy movie based on the series itself, and it was directed by Igor Kovalyov, let me get it correct, and Norton Virgin. And it had the voice acting talents of E.G. Daly, Tara Cherendoff, Christine Cavanaugh, Kathy Sushi, and Cheryl Chase. Yes, all women.
What? Didn't realize that, right?
Now, it was released in the theaters prior to being on the network itself. It has an 80-minute runtime. It had a budget of $24 million and earned over $140 million at the box office.
Wow.
And another thing that's a fun fact, it was a collaboration between Paramount Pictures, Nickelodeon Movies, and Klasky Csupo.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is actually back when Nickelodeon had a lot more theatrical movies. Not only that were also 2D, but also either started, it was like the pilot movie, the big theatrical pilot movie to upcoming TV show, or they were the big movie in the middle of a TV show. It's sort of like the reversal of Cartoon Network, who always did TV movie finales to their series.
Now, this movie actually was supposed to be done back in 1994, along with Ren and Stimpy and Doug movies. But the contract ended after Nickelodeon's parent company, Viacom, bought Paramount Pictures company Paramount Communications. And then in 1995, after the series restarted after a small hiatus, then they began the movie.
Oh, okay. So it came a little late because of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's funny because a lot of people really loved the series already. And the movies were just, they were still in the same universe. They were still canon and everything. But there was just something special about actually all three films in here. It's one of the most beloved trilogies that doesn't really get talked about enough. I think it only gained a little more traction after they had the reboot of Rugrats. And when people saw that it was just a sort of mess series and it didn't have that same imagination, they started going back to the old series. And people started to realize, like, wow, you don't realize how well all three films hold up, and this one started all.
And that made us want to cover them all. So this is the first of three.
Yes.
Another fun fact. Yes, I got another one. This was the first non-Disney animated movie to gross over $100 million at the box office in the U.S.
Oh, wow. That's a cool record for it.
Yes. So, the movie is fun. And it starts off with, I can't remember the mom's first name. I'll just say Miss Pickles. I know that's not her name.
Oh, well, yeah, I think you hear Stu, so I think it's Dee Dee.
Yes,
because you hear Stu more than Dee Dee. It's hilarious.
She's pregnant in a giant red dress. To the hospital.
Right.
And then they have pictures of Dill.
Right.
So it starts off pretty quickly where, hey, get the baby out.
Yep, literally, within 5 minutes, it's like, we're not even going to drag this out, just start the movie with it. And what's funny about this is that from the time Dill is born, the movie is like a somewhat of a musical. And I say somewhat because they're not grand Broadway numbers. They're kind of doing little one-shot songs for certain characters. Like even the babies in the nursery had a song. They were all celebrities for some reason, but for somehow it worked. And they ended up actually working with the story because they didn't just stop the movie to do it. It was sung as the movie was going forward. And they came up in certain places to bring you a little more levity, because there were actually times when the movie started to get a little serious, especially with its core conflict being Dill himself. And the thing was, they subverted the trope. Usually when someone gets a sibling, they can't stand them, or they have an issue or grudge, it's always a sort of against each other, or one hates the other.
Right.
And here you like that Tommy just wasn't sure how to react. He was a little sad he wasn't getting attention, but the dad told him he has a responsibility to protect his brother.
But the twins and Chucky were more like, send them back.
Yeah.
Send them back. You don't have to keep them. Send them back.
Right. It was like an opposite day.
Right.
And Tommy was more willing to be the good big brother, while the friends were the ones who wanted to get rid of him. It was like, it was so weird, but it was a nice subversion.
Right, true. And it's so funny that it usually Spike was the one watching the kids. The parents generally did not watch these kids.
Or the grandpa
And
was
Spike,
asleep.
right, and Spike kept them from getting into trouble and hurt. Well, this time, Spike wasn't able to.
Yes.
And this time, for the first time ever in the
Yes.
history of Rugrats, the parents noticed the kids were missing.
Yes! And that was one of the biggest things about this movie. And you kind of, like, always laughed at the idea that they got away with everything and just came back and
Like
they
Team
know.
Rocket.
Right. And it was like nothing happened. You somehow this whole adventure and they come back and it's like nothing happened. And then here, I said, where's Tommy? Where's the baby? Where's Chucky? Where's everybody? And then the mom screams and freaks out, and there's a whole Channel 7 news coming in. There's a manhunt, searching everywhere, news crew, a whole town searching. It's like, I guess you probably found out what happens if they actually saw that they were missing. And yes, they do care, because they call everybody in that town to search for these kids.
But it makes it so hilarious because you're like, okay, we've watched how many seasons and they never noticed they're missing. And this time, out of all the times, big movie, they noticed they're missing.
And you actually love it.
Yes. And within this search, you have other stars that show up as guest stars. Now knowing that Paramount was involved, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You also have David Spade.
Yeah.
And Whoopi Goldberg.
That was
and
a surprise.
Tim Curry and Andrea Martin and Cree Summer and Susie, which she returned for quite a few times. So I actually became a regular.
Yeah. As it
We
went on.
had Margaret Cho and believe this Roger Clinton Jr.
Yes.
Buster Rhymes, Charlie Adler. So you had a lot of guest stars who appear.
Yes.
And then within that, you also had singers who were there as baby singers.
Yes, and that was the weirdest part of that movie when they were looking for Dill. And yes, the babies all of a sudden have these adult voices, adult singing, and it's just one of the most bizarre things when you think about it. It's like, well, these babies are voiced by adults too, so I guess it's okay.
And it's so funny when we heard some of the music, and I said, that's the B-52s. That's the B-52s. I knew it before we saw anything because they have this distinct sound.
Yes.
They also had Lenny Kravitz, Iggy Pop, Lisa Loeb, Jacob Dylan, Beck, Lou Rawls.
Yes.
It was so funny that you had all these stars that got involved. Probably again because of Paramount.
Right. And this is the time when you had these guest stars, it was fun. And it seemed like they were having fun, just having a silly role and just having a little cameo. And it was just for fun. Because a lot of times now they're kind of like, well, either this is a paycheck, I don't really care, I'm just going to do it, deliver on lines, get my check and go. Or I'm too good for this, I should be in the theater, I should be in $500 million movies, I should be an action star, not in this little kids movie. They didn't have that attitude. It was just, okay, I'm gonna be in this because this just sounds fun. They wanted to be in fun projects like this.
And I think that's a good thing because it really didn't receive a lot of critical praise from critics. It scored with Rotten Tomatoes before they were rotten, 59%, 5.8 out of 10, and you had a lot of reviewers who actually gave it 2 out of 4 stars. And I think because maybe, as you just stated, they weren't looking for fun. They were looking for the movie to be something more. But the show isn't. The show is about the escapades of babies.
And that's what it was.
In their real world, the adults don't understand, but we get the privilege of understanding their baby talk.
Right.
Like they're talking to us. And so this was a big movie based on these babies, these
Right.
stupid babies, who the adults in the movie don't understand, but we do.
Exactly.
And I think the critics missed the whole point of the movie.
Right. And I guess, looks like things turn around anyway because we got 2 or more movies later anyway. And it looks like it appealed to all the Rugrats fans that really enjoyed it, both the kids and the adults and families, of course. And there are times when movies that have such a simple plot do way more with the material, like Migration and other films. And there are times it can do way more, something so simple, and really put all their effort out there. Rugrats just did in a different way.
Yes.
And I think the different way was the brother relationship with Tommy and Dill. Like I said.
And that wasn't being done at that time.
Right. He didn't hate his brother. He wanted to show his responsibility and protect his brother. And pretty much that was the whole base. He did have a point where he was near a breaking point, but it turned around quickly. And I think the core message was the family aspect, even with them being separated from the adults.
Yeah.
You knew the adults cared because they sent an entire town and Channel 5 News and the police and FBI to look for some children. And they looked for them, and then he had them together. And then when Tommy separated from his friends, he was with his brother. He stayed by him no matter what.
Yeah, 2 things I want to point out quickly. One, I don't think the critics who reviewed it watched the series. And
Probably.
I think that counted against them thinking it was something it wasn't. And 2, I think they did an excellent job in keeping the tone and everything of the animated series translating perfectly to the movie, because sometimes it doesn't happen.
Right.
And you're like, this is so different. What the
Right.
heck is this? But it was like watching an extended episode.
Exactly.
And it was perfect. And it deserves a 10 out of 10. Absolutely.
Yes.
So if you've seen Rugrats the movie, let us know in the comments. Did you see it when it originally premiered at the theater, or did you see it when they put it on TV? Have you watched it on DVD or on streaming? However, let us know. And if you haven't, and you're a big Rugrats fan, what's going on? Get out there and watch this movie.
Right.
As well as the sequels. Come back and tell us what you think.
And if you don't know, subscribe for updates and weekly videos of anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Yes.
And our coverage of Rugrats in Paris.
Yes, as well as Rugrats Go On.
Yes.
And thank you so much for joining, subscribing, sharing our videos, so much more. We really appreciate you guys. You have no idea how much. And as always,
You are special. Thanks so much for watching Rascal Entertainment.
and I'm on entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace. Stupid baby!